Welcome to Longroad's Competitive University presentation. It's an introductory presentation and it's Tuesday the 1st of December, but this will be used throughout the term if people can't see it today. You're welcome to pass it on to other students who are interested in maybe competitive universities. They may not know what a competitive university is, so this is what the presentation's about. Thank you, by the way, for those that came to the Oxbridge presentation with Grace last week. She was really pleased with the outcome and really liked some of the questions that students answered. So she's also going to send us a presentation of that same set of slides that she gave to another school, because she didn't record ours, but that'll be coming soon. So let's go with this now. Sorry about that. Here we go. The Russell Group universities. Let's have a look. The public research universities are what they're called. All right. There's a number of those universities and we're going to find out who they are. The reason why they're called public research universities is because it's public sector. That's what it means by the research universities there. They do it for the goodness of research and the benefit of the UK and for the rest of society. For example, we have the COVID issue on at the moment. And of course, the COVID means that a lot of companies and a lot of universities are researching to try and find vaccines. You'll be well aware from watching the TV and everything that Oxford and Cambridge are both involved with that, but so is Southampton University. I know Manchester have been on the telly and other universities as well, the London universities, which are a group of different universities. And of course, they're all part of the Russell Group. So that's what it means by being in the Russell Group. It was set up specifically really to sort of give 24 universities in this case, the niche in a sense to sort of look at sort of research heavy university based degrees. The great thing about those is that you get taught by lecturers and PhD students who are doing groundbreaking research into the subjects and the courses that you're interested in. Of course, it includes Oxford and Cambridge, who are probably the two most famous universities in the UK and probably the world as well. But they're all interested in your deep thinking and your interest and suitability for the courses that you go on to choose. Now, this is important for us here, because if you think about it, there must be 120 universities who do psychology, for instance, or other social science courses. There's 60 odd. In fact, there's lots more than that. And you can imagine how many universities run English degrees. They all have different courses and they all have different sort of levels of courses with different modules on them. So you need to look also when you're looking at universities full stop, not just Russell Group universities, at the degrees that they offer. Russell Group go for that high end. They're the competitive universities. So many of them still look for 3A grades for most of their courses. And we've put most in commas there because I've got some excellent news for you at the moment with some of our year twos who are applying to the Russell Group and some that have applied to Oxford, and I've got interviews next week. But what they've done is they've applied to Durham's of this world, to York, etc. And some of them have been given really good sort of offers to come and study on their degrees, which are usually 3A grades, but actually they've made exceptions because of Longroad students that have given them a real good reputation in the past who are there now or have completed degrees, and they're looking sometimes at giving AAB or ABB offers. So that's why I've put most of the courses in there. That's interesting, and I think that's very helpful to know. At the moment, nearly all of them have virtual events going on. And of course, they've got presentations like this and other sort of bits of video regarding their universities and their specific courses online. So go and have a look to see what they've got. Let's now go on to another slide. Nice, easy slide for us. There are the 24 Russell Group universities. You'll be familiar with some of those. You'll certainly be familiar with them from, as I say, the COVID newsreel that we find that's been going on now for what, 8 or 9 months. Nearly all of those universities are involved in one way or another with the research into the epidemic or the pandemic we've got at the moment. I can see down the middle, we've got the University of Bristol, Cambridge, Oxford and Queen Mary there. And I've highlighted those in blue as 4 of those 24. And I could actually put the University of Warwick in there as well, which is the second bottom at the right. And why we've got those highlighted is because those universities have been working with us to see if they can sort of contact our students in the Russell groups to either come and present like they would have before COVID, or will present online to us in term 2 and maybe even in term 3 in order to let you all know what their university is like specifically, but also they work together, these universities, to sort of make sure that the students, you, that are going to apply to these universities are aware of the differences and the sort of unique selling points, you could say, of each university, but actually also they're there to get the right students on the right course, because that's what the degree is all about, a bit like A-levels. If you think about Long Road, we offer A-levels the same as our sister college down the road there, Hills Road, who we work sort of really closely with. And it's really good because students get a choice of maybe sort of studying different A-level combinations, and you can study them in different colleges. Well, it's the same for universities, really. They look at the same sort of subjects. The great thing about universities is they have the ability to sort of create new modules, really sort of interesting sort of areas of study that you can look at. And that often comes from their research bases, which I talked about on that second slide there. They're research heavy. So what they do is they bring that research into the teaching as well. And a lot of PhD students also do that. So let's have a look at the next slide. So it's all right me talking about choosing a competitive university and all that sort of stuff. We'll go into one, but there's 24 to choose from. I think you'll know that you can only choose 5 maximum. So therefore, you've got to try and think about which universities to look at and which ones to sort of keep on an application and which ones maybe you drop off applications. Now that can take time, and it's always good to start now with your research of looking into universities. So we say look, find and visit. Let's look at the look first. The modules are the units that you take. You may take a number of different units as we go along, and these are various different units, as I say, that could be taught, that are standard sort of units that most degrees would have, but then specific modules that certain universities only teach. For instance, I know that a politics degree at one of the London unis has an anarchism module in it, which is absolutely fantastic. And I know this because my son a few years ago was looking at that university. We went for an open day to find it, and it was really exciting. He thought that would be a fantastic module to do, but it is only one module of a minimum of 9 he would probably have to have taken. So he had to think carefully about, does he want to study politics at one of the London universities simply because one of the modules is good? Maybe he had to reconsider that, and between us he did. And I want you to consider that as well, really, because there could be some really exciting sort of research and modules sort of being taught, but have a think about the whole of the degree and don't fixate on just one module. The other thing that he did was he looked to find out who lectures at these universities, what research have they done, what have they published, what are their sort of areas of expertise, etc. And you may start to find in your A-levels that you become really interested in certain units. So there's another sort of area that you can maybe research into the competitive university degrees that you were looking for. It takes time, so think about that. We need to get started soon. And the third point there is visit if you can. Now, visit online possible, and you can see some sort of historical sort of video clips if you want. But visit the universities if you can when they've got open days, which we hope they will have by the summer when we've all had a vaccine and all that sort of stuff. Why would you want to visit on an open day when you can visit online? Well, in all honesty, if you go to a university, you get a feel for a place, just like you get a feel for Long Road, a feel for other colleges and A-level sort of levels. You also get the same at degree levels. There's more to your 3 or 4 years at university than just sort of studying on what you think is the best degree or the appropriate degree. It's got to be in the right place as well, because you're going to be living there. And at the moment, I was talking to a student this morning who's just finished her first term in year 1. And of course, she's had to come home early because of the COVID issues. So they are, as you know, from December onwards, 1st of December today, they're getting students to sort of leave to go back home. So she was one of the first lot to go back home, and she told me that the university she's gone to is absolutely fantastic. She loves it. She loves everything about the city she's in. It's quite historical, like Cambridge. It's got a beautiful big cathedral. She feels right there, and that's fantastic. She also identifies with the university. One of her ex-A-level teachers here went to the same university, and she identifies with that, and it's just something that helped her make her choice when it came to it. She put it down as one of her 5. She then chose it when it came to finding out where you're going in the summer. Let's go to slide 5. We're halfway through. Well, now let's talk, you could say at the top of the tree, the Oxford and the Cambridge here, hence the word Oxbridge there, the twinning of those two wonderful sort of university words coming together. Grace really helped us last week by letting us know what Oxbridge is about. So this is just a little bit of a recap on it, but it's an important recap simply because, again, last year we had 7 students apply for Oxbridge. We've had 3 of those now been invited to interview in the next couple of weeks, and we're hoping another couple come through as well. What did those students have that made them want to apply for Oxbridge? Well, most of the time, Oxbridge require excellent grades from the GCSEs, as Grace said last week. Most students who apply have 7+ grade 9s, 8s, etc. But they also take into account the contextual data. And again, Grace talked about that. They take in other considerations like the school you may have gone to, any disruptions in your school or education there, or at Long Road. And they like to sort of look at as many bits of data as they can in order to be able to sort of look at offering students interviews and hopefully places there as well from Long Road. So don't be put off if you haven't got a whole stream of 9s and 8s. That's what they mostly look at. But what they do look at as well is the school you went to and the college environment. Remember, you know, we have classes of 23, 24 at Long Road, and maybe some other students who are applying as well are only in classes of sometimes as little as 8, maybe 12. So they like to know that sort of data, and we offer that data to them, as well as you can put it in your personal statements. Consistent top grades in your 3 subjects. That's the subjects you're taking with us right now at Long Road. So if you're on 3A levels, they're looking at you doing well in your KA1 to KA6. You do 3 in year 1, you do 3 in year 2. You've just done the KA1, the key assessment 1, and hopefully you're happy with the grades you got back and the feedback from those mock assessments from your teachers. This will help us develop your reference and your predicted grades. So keep working hard. The word consistency there is really, really important. And then, of course, what do Oxbridge look for? And Grace went over this a few times. I've got a couple more slides on it. They look at the proof of your interest in the subject and the evidence of intellectual engagement, i.e., do you read around it? Do you understand it? Do you want to understand it further? Are you talking to your teachers about it? Is it part of the curriculum? Is it outside the curriculum? All those sort of things. Let's go on to slide 6. Right, here we go then. So carrying on with Oxbridge then. What do you need for Oxbridge? Well, there's something called that super curriculum proof of engagement. I'm going to bring Grace's name up again from our Selwyn College presentation last week, but she did talk about that a couple of times. And those fantastic student ambassadors she had with us, they also mentioned super curricular activities that they do. We're also going to make sure that you work on that. So Adam Al-Janabi, who is Cambridge alumni, and he's also still there now finishing off his Masters, he will be talking to you in January about super curricular engagement and what that means. So we're going to have a whole session on that. So let me just briefly go over it. It really is a key feature for the application to Oxbridge. You have to prove that you love your subject. It's what you need to think about doing from now on. So let's start thinking about it. We have some links there. I won't go through them, but there's a link to supracurricular studying. All right. And that was from Grace last week, and it's really good. I've had a look at it, and it gives you lots of different tips there. Keys School there, the Gonville and Keys College Schools YouTube channel is really good, so have a look at that as well. And there's something from Oxford there, which is called Oxplore as well, so that's good. It's also got some Cambridge in. What are they talking about, and what are they hinting about? What are they urging you to do? Well, they're urging you to start thinking now about reading around your subject. You must love your 3 subjects, and one of them is probably taking particular sort of interest for you. You need to start reading around it. You need to start sort of looking and researching. You need to start thinking already about testing yourself on this wonderful new this wonderful new sort of information you're finding, and looking at that. So we put practice there, and practice some tests which you can get online. You can even get admissions tests online, and practice good time management. Now, that's really important because you need to start to work out how you can do all this sort of stuff whilst engaging fully in your A-levels, and whilst probably having to do some part-time work or other things like that. We know how busy you students are. We don't want to make it any harder for you, but actually what we do want to do is make it very clear what's expected of top students. So not only do we say practice, tests and all those sort of things, this is part of super curricular activity. Reading, and that can be books, newspapers, articles online, subject-specific websites. Universities have website reading lists, and again, when I was talking about there, finding out if they've got lecturers at universities who are really interested in the same sort of areas of the subject you are aiming to study, they will often quite proudly list their articles and the research they've done. So have a look at that. We've also, hint, got some fantastic books in our college. The LRC, where we were last week listening to Grace, has some really good articles. And in fact, that top picture of the left-hand side as you're looking at it there, there's 2 pictures. There's one with a Guardian underneath, which is a very good paper for current issues and real in-depth analysis. But also there's a little picture there of those row of fantastic magazines we have, which are subject-specific magazines. There's history ones, there's politics ones, there's English ones, there's every subject you need there. For those of you who are looking at a more scientific, STEM-based sort of degree, well, you need to get looking at that New Scientist. We have it in the LRC. It is quite expensive, but you can get it in the LRC. Can't take it away, but you can certainly sit there and read it and go through. They're the sort of things that the other students who are going to be applying for the same degrees as you are doing. They've maybe already been sort of encouraged to start reading around their subjects. If they haven't yet, they certainly will be soon, like yourselves. But also you can watch again some wonderful TED Talks. TED Talks on education, TED Talks on every subject under the sun, TED Talks on the subjects and the courses that you want to maybe go and study at university. There's YouTube videos, links everywhere. And in fact, Oxford and Cambridge and other universities have numerous ones. YouTube for me is sometimes quite difficult because you get on it and there's like 300 different sort of suggestions and I never know which one to choose, and I spend about 2 hours trying to find one, and when I find it, it's usually the wrong one, and then I sort of turn off. So I'm hoping you're better than me at navigating around the YouTube to watch the appropriate sort of educational, informational videos that are on there. The university's got their own media sites and they have some great clips, short and long ones. So you need to engage and explore there. Be proactive in your learning. It really is something to start to think about now. You lot are already pretty good at independent study. You're hopefully studying outside of lessons and enjoying it. And you're hopefully going to engage and explore more on that study and broadening your knowledge of your subject or subjects. You could be doing it for all 3 of your subjects, for instance, but start to enjoy reading around the syllabus as well. Let's go to the next slide. Well, I thought really we should be sort of trying to prove to you that our students do actually get to the Russell Group universities. 54 were placed last year. We're hoping for even more this year with our new cohort. It's going up every year. You lot are going to make that go up even further in a year and a half, 2 years' time, whenever that may be. And here's some of the places they go to. York has been probably for about the last 6 years now the most popular place for our students to go for the Russell Group universities, right? We usually get around 8 to 10 go there every year, but Nottingham, Bristol, Leeds, Birmingham, they're all catching up, and we're getting a wider expanse of those 24 universities as well. We don't often get too many go to the London universities because of the concern sometimes with the financial concern of living in London and the increase in sort of accommodation fees and all that sort of stuff. But I would say don't let that put you off. It shouldn't stop you going to the university you think is right for you. Talking to my son again, he went to a London university. He loved it. It wasn't that one that did that anarchism module for politics. It was another one. But what he did was, and what we did, we went with him. So hint, hint, parents, carers go with you as well, is go to these open days if you can when we're allowed to again. But certainly looking on some of their online virtual tours or whatever else, you'll get a feel for the university. You mustn't let a university in London or another major city like Manchester, Leeds, etc. put you off going to because you think it's going to be more expensive. That's not a reason to not go to the universities to do the degree you want to go to and do because it's the right place for you. It will not matter in the end, believe me. So we've got good relationships building up now with these universities. We've got Warwick and Bristol who come in, and Warwick are eager to maybe also come and meet with you. If we have to do it online like this, we will. If we can get them to come in like they did last year, we'll do that as well. And that's what we're hoping for in the next couple of terms we've got. What have we got anyway coming up? Well, there you go. I said that Adam Al-Janabi will be looking at super curricular stuff, and that'll be on the 12th of January, 2021, and that'll be online like this. And then we've got an introduction to Oscar. Won't say too much about that in February, but that is a really good setup by mainly Oxbridge alumni who have set up a system to help you develop your personal statements and to think about extra super curricular activities besides what Adam's said, and to encourage you what Adam's already said as well. Can you say this super curriculars keep on coming up? And it's not just for Oxbridge, it's for everywhere, believe me. March time, we'll start thinking about these competitive applications. You're thinking to yourself, why March? We haven't got to do it till October. That's if we're going to Oxbridge. It takes a while. There's a lot of research to be done. Personal statements. We missed, by the way, April time because we've got Easter, and you may have sort of, mock exams then. We come back in May, 11th of May there to look at personal statements. And again, if you think you can do a personal statement in one go, you must be fooling yourself. It can take a number of attempts to get that personal statement right. So let's start it early. Let's start the ball rolling in May so that by July, before you leave with us, we've got an initial draft from you, and you can build on that draft over the summer if you're going to be doing some more visits, some sort of work experience, whatever else, some super curricular activities. And we can have that all ready by early September. Because remember, Long Road comes back in September. You start in the September first week with us. It's the 15th of October when you have to have everything sent off if you're applying to Oxbridge. So that's 6 weeks, you're thinking? Plenty of time? Believe me, it goes like a flash. And guess what? Your teachers are telling you to do this, that, and the other. All of a sudden, you've got no time. So let's get started on it this academic year. And in June, we like to do a little bit of, hey, what's interviewing about? It is mainly Oxford and Cambridge do interviews. Medics and vets also do interviews as well. But some of the other universities now, because of the COVID and etc. we're in, are thinking about doing MS Teams interviews. So it could be that next year, for the academic sort of turnaround of UCAS, you may be invited to interviews for the other Russell groups as well that you're choosing. Let's keep that in our minds. So we're going to prepare for it. Right, what's Vespa about? I'm hoping that your teachers in your A-level subjects may have told you about Vespa. I know that the Vice Principal and the college have sent sort of things in about Vespa. One thing about Vespa is they would have thought you'd have been able to have spelt university, right? So apologies about that. I can see on the top line in capitals, I've got university. You know what I mean there. It's university. Vespa is, in a sense, an educational tool that we are really sort of eager to promote because it starts to develop your educational sort of knowledge and expansion and all that. Why? Because it's based on fantastic research, evidence-based knowledge in education. We want you to start having a vision. Well, you've got a vision because you are listening to the presentation we're giving today. Thumbs up there. Your vision is you want to look at Russell Group universities, maybe taking into account Oxford and Cambridge. So thumbs up there for your applications. You've got a vision. The E is for effort. Well, you've started. You came last week, some of you, and some of you are here this week. A lot more of you are going to start now putting the effort in to see about what these competitive universities are, to start researching. So what I've put there is keep going on with your studies, but now start that super curricular research too. It's really important that you start flicking through subject-specific magazines, listening to good podcasts, watching really good TED Talks. There's nothing wrong with doing all of those because that breaks up the monotony sometimes of that stale sort of education. We want you to sort of get sort of excited and thrilled by all these different sort of ways of looking at the subject you're after. So start putting that effort in now. It takes time, and it takes time for that to embed itself in your studies. The systems with Vespa is about this managing your time to study and to read, or watch, or listen if it's podcasts or Radio 4 programs. You need to think about managing your time, and Grace really pushed that last week in the Selwyn College presentation. Time management, she says, is absolutely key, and it's a real benefit not just to your studies but for life in general. The practice, well, that speaks for itself. Practice, and you'll get better. You'll develop your research skills for the super curricular activities. You'll practice tests, whatever else. These things will help you not only improve your understanding of the subject, but also make you feel much more confident that you have a right to be applying to the Russell Group and to the very top competitive universities. You are as good as all the other students that go there. Sometimes you don't just know that, and sometimes you think, well, Who am I competing against? Don't worry about anyone else. Put yourself in the place of a top competitive university applicant. And those are the ones that had the vision, they put in the effort, they know how to manage their time well, and they start to practice and develop their understanding, their research skills, because their attitude is that they respond positively to the challenges of the top universities that you will be applying to for us. If you can do all that, you give yourself the best possible chance then of getting into a Russell Group University. It's not magic. There's nothing here that we don't know about. There's no real sort of hidden sort of things that help you get into Russell Group. It's just about hard work and loving your subject. If you love what you do and you love what you're learning, then you're going to love university. Which university? When you need to start looking to find out. Let's have a look at this very last slide. Right, how are we getting on? Finally, says Long Road, keep an eye on your college emails. I think Keith, who's been sort of emailing you regarding these introductory presentations, has been doing that via emails as well as maybe via ProMonitor. But we need to start looking at sending you emails on your college email account. We email you. We don't email parents or carers. This is about the student now who is intent on wanting to go to Russell Group. You are young adults. You're independent learners. So you're independent researchers. You're independent applicants in our eyes. Universities want students who are applying to the subjects they want to do at the place they want to go to, because for a university, the student's going to be worked hard at a competitive university, especially at all universities, in all honesty. You're going to be worked hard. You've got to prove you've got independent study skills. You've got to prove you love your subject. The way to do that is to be in control of that and take ownership. So that's why we communicate with you via college emails, not with others. So keep that in mind and just keep looking at your emails regularly. All right. You've got the dates of our forthcoming presentations and Russell Group meetings in terms 2 and term 3. And we'll, of course, send you reminders of those. Consider the commitment that you're able to give to this, especially if you're thinking of applying to Oxbridge. The commitment goes on a weekly basis. It doesn't get crammed in to the end of the application. Commit yourself to looking now and researching and finding out about Oxbridge, especially Russell Group, importantly. Are you a person who wants to challenge yourself? Well, I think you are, because you're all here now. And the challenge is not only intellectually, but it's emotionally and it's personally as well. Grace talked about that. The students that have that desire to challenge themselves in every way. And that's what she meant by that. And that's what we mean by that as well. Your teachers will get that from you. We will understand that from you as well, me and Adam and others who join the Russell Group meetings, because we'll see that. You can't hide that. If you're really inspired, it comes through. And guess what? We can put that in references and we can tell universities how fantastic you are. So that's basically a 30-odd minute sort of introduction to the Russell Group. I'm going to keep this on the college YouTube because I've recorded it. It's 48 minutes long. I didn't realise I've been talking for so long. I hope you've got something from that. I'm not expecting you to take all that in one go. That's why you can look at this again. And we will keep sort of maybe sending emails and hints along the way to encourage you to carry on doing what we've asked. There's no Q&A because this is a recorded session, but you can by all means get in touch with me or Keith or Adam Al-Janabi before Christmas. We definitely would love to see you after Christmas on the 12th of January. Adam has told me today he's looking forward to talking through super curricular activities. He's going to tell you what he did. He's going to tell you what his friends did. And he's going to tell you what he knows other students have done as well that he's worked with, because most Cambridge students like Adam do outreach for other schools. And he's like one of the student ambassadors that was with Grace last week. He's got lots of fantastic tips and hints there. So come along on the 12th of January to our next presentation. I want to thank you all for listening in today. If I don't see you all before, it's the start of December now, so I can wish you all a happy Christmas, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all next year. Okay then, thank you so much. We'll see you soon now. Bye-bye.